It is 7:02, and I'd like to call a meeting of the Southwood Conservation Commission meeting to order. It is Monday, October 2nd. This is a hybrid meeting. And we'll start by taking attendance. Dennis Clark. Here. Mazzanalu. Here. Jerry Patria. Here. Andy Reardon. Here. Kevin Solik. Chris Pratt. Here. And Norm Cheever is here also. We also have Sabrina Pooler, our conservation coordinator, and Jean Nilsson, our conservation administrator. I'd like to welcome back Chris Pratt.
Thank you.
Our newest member, maybe our oldest member. Chris has served, I think, 21 years on the Conservation Commission, and now he's back to join us. We certainly welcome and are glad to have him back.
Thank you.
And are there any public comments in the audience or on Zoom? Oh, somebody's hands up. Michelle Pratt.
Do I need to unmute them?
I think I'm unmuted.
You're
Can hear
okay
you.
now.
Hi, Michelle Pratt, 152 Berkshire Avenue, president of Citizens Restoring Congamon. I just wanted to give you all an update. We did put the vote for assisting with the funding for rope swing removal and some of the tree cutting on North Pond. We did put it out to our general membership for a vote. Unfortunately, the noes have it. So it was about 53%. It was a very narrow margin. So thanks to everybody who joined, but people really were not interested in CRC funding for that project. A majority of the yes votes were from Southwick, 88%. So I think that was kind of a thing too. You know, some of the comments were, well, it's Southwick's property. Southwick should pay for it. It's going to happen anyway. So that means they're going to find the tax money. That means they should pay for it. So that was a big piece of it. And then, you know, certainly some folks just didn't want it to happen. So they weren't going to want money to go towards it either. So, unfortunately, it's going to have to be a no from us. We have to respect the will of our members when it comes to how we spend our funds.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, let's move to the next item, which is to approve the minutes from September 11th. I do have some changes. I haven't marked up. I'll give you my copy, Jean, when we're done here. On page 1, two of the commissioners, the main commissioner is spelled incorrectly on 2, Mamet's and Jerry's. And that's the only changes I have for page 1. Does anybody else have anything for page 1?
You mean September 8th, Norm?
11th.
That's what I was, September 18th is what I have.
The date's wrong then, though.
Oh,
September 18th.
thank you. Another change for page 1. Okay.
That's a big one. That's the one.
Okay.
I didn't catch that.
Now on page 2, on the second line, I have change in spelling on hardscape. It's one word, not 2. And on the same line, Congamon Lake, Congamon is spelled incorrectly.
That's correct.
And then on the third line, that one's corrected on that?
Congamon is what hardscape is.
Okay. On the third line, it said approximately 570 feet of pavers. It's, I believe it's 570 square feet of pavers. Down under 24 and 26, Nicholson, the third to the last item. Reconstruction, I believe, is 2 words. And then I added a line, Mr. Borelli was told to install the silt fence. Anybody else got anything for page 2? On page 3, the only thing I have is done under star gravers. With the wood chips were donated by the commission. I'm not sure what it was supposed to be. Oh, it was Andy donated the wood chips, so it was by the commission.
By the commission.
Well, we have yet to receive one.
Yep, so we just have to add the words the.
Mother, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for page 3? Page 4, I have none. Does anybody else have anything for page 4?
No.
Okay. All right, so anybody would like to make a motion on the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes with revisions presented.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, so Mehmet made the motion, Jerry made the second. We'll do a roll call vote. Dennis Clark. Aye. Mehmet Manzanoglu. Aye. Jerry Patria. Aye. Andy Reardon. Aye. Chris Pratt.
I can't vote.
And Norm Cheever. So Chris Pratt will abstain. Okay. I'll give this to Gene before I forget. Okay. All right, first, public hearing of the night is, we have a little bit of an issue. The article in the paper, the Apollo meeting in the paper was listed as an RDA for Lot A, 72 North Vining Road. And I believe it's actually an ILI, an NOI.
An RDA.
It's an RDA for a single,
72 more is an RDA.
single family home under an RDA.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll call the meeting. Southwood Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 31, Section 40, and the Southwood Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaws, Chapter 81 and Chapter 450, for an RDA via a hybrid meeting, Zoom and in person. The project location is Lot A, 72 North Vining Road. The project is for a single-family dwelling constructed within the outer 50 feet of the wetland buffer zone. The hearing will be held October 2nd, 2023 at 7:05 p.m. And who's here to speak for the petitioner? Please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Oh, join us.
Sorry, I left it a short chair.
It's okay.
It's dangerous.
It's
Is that the broken one?
Yeah, be careful on your way
Sitting
down.
at the kids' table.
All the way down.
Yeah, so my name's Jeff Smith, with Selvini Associates, and we're representing Oak Ridge Custom Home Builders. As the legal notice stated, it's a single family home. It's in the outer 50 feet of the buffer zone. Erosion control will be set up at the 50-foot no build line.
You have copies of the RDA?
You do. I have a copy of the plan if you want to see
Yeah,
it.
I have copies for the commissioners.
They came
I didn't get
earlier.
an electronic copy either.
I'm trying to find it.
Like to get those when
It wasn't on the
RDAs are
website.
submitted. I like to get
Yeah.
one sent to me electronically so I can review it before the meeting.
Okay,
Just
well, let's
the,
let, Mr. Smith.
I think it's in our bylaw.
Yeah.
It is in the bylaws?
Yeah.
I think you did submit it.
That's part of the application process.
Yep.
Right.
This was a while ago. Let me just go into my outlook.
So you wanna hear Mr. Smith, what he has to say, or do we wanna continue?
Yeah, no, I just want to see the RDA.
You want to look at this one?
Pass it around.
Here's a copy of it. We did submit a PDF of it.
Huh?
All right, let me see if I can bring it up. My phone, 365 login. Mm,
So the boundaries were determined by
Did a wetland
the wetland
delineation.
delineation.
Yes,
You're
at the back of the property.
you're the wetland delineator.
Yes,
Sorry, to get your name again.
Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith.
Maybe.
Right, there we go.
No worries. New.
Right around the campfire.
I guess so, it's the campfire here.
Mhm.
Sorry. This is the, where's the wetland?
Well, it's back here, at the back of the property. Extends south onto adjacent land and it extends north up into
And this is
the old
the-
farmland.
This is the wetland, 100-foot wetland line that goes.
Yep.
Right through the septic system.
Yep. And this is the
You see
50-foot
the-
line here.
So there's 200 footers. Is this one and there's this one?
Revised with a,
There's one coming from this
There's
way too.
one,
So it's in-
there's a wetland on the
two.
adjacent property.
Ah,
In the 50-foot
50-foot line
Here
is where the erosion
and
control is.
here.
Yeah.
this is, what's this, semi-circle?
That's the well
This is an RDA?
offset. Yes.
Yeah, maybe it
I
should
don't
have,
think it'll take too long to decide this one.
maybe it should have been an NOI.
Well, it's outside the 50-foot no build.
Yeah, it's.
There's no
it's beyond
impacts on the
scope of
wetland.
Anything for an RDA. As far as I can see.
we should be bringing
We can't set limits of lawn, we can't have any order of conditions, we can't I would, it's over.
You can write an RDA with conditions
No,
order
no,
on an RDA.
It's not,
no, they're absolutely no good to do that.
No.
This is,
they won't stick.
I can say why Norm
Well-
thought it was an NOI because it certainly,
You know, one of the reasons that states that it cannot be an RDA is there's less than 1,000 square feet of alteration in the buffer zone. Okay, it was obviously within 100 foot.
it triggers everything. Yeah.
So I think
we should go out of the 50 at least.
we have to vote for a positive,
You looking for motion? I'd make a motion to find this positive.
okay, which means
So you want to see NOI on this?
this needs to be an NOI.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a
Okay.
motion from Dennis and a second from Chris Pratt for a positive vote on the RDA.
So,
Any
and
discussion with Dave?
I have a question.
Yes, Jeff.
So one of the reasons was the 1,000 square foot of impact within the buffer zone.
Yes,
What was the second?
and no alteration of wetland resource area. That's is in 200-foot zones.
200 foot.
But is it a wetland resource area?
The wetland is a BVW.
Okay,
There's no riverfront involved. So,
but this project is much larger than we've ever taken on as an RDA.
even though it's completely outside the 50-foot no build,
Yes.
Did you take a vote, Norm? Yeah, let's.
Any other-
Second, aye.
Okay, now we had a second from Chris Pratt.
No, Chris seconded.
Yeah, you said that.
Any further discussion or debate?
No.
Hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote. Dennis Clark,
Aye.
Mamet,
Aye.
Jerry. Aye. Andy,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and Norm is an aye as well, so. Been denied,
you're getting an NOI chief.
Positive.
it's a positive,
Positive.
Yes.
which means we
Denied.
don't approve it. Right?
Don't
The
approve.
opposite of what you might think.
All we gotta do is
Well,
take
only
these
in-
plans and turn them into an NOI.
Yep.
Because they're
We
done.
will resubmit it as
Okay.
NOI. Yeah. Is there anything more you'd like to see on there or what are you
We're
looking
gonna have to
for?
repost it
Yes.
as well.
However, are you looking to reduce impacts? I mean, we can talk to the engineer.
The map is over
It's
there.
possible he can move the leach field further out. I don't know how far, but I don't know if there's a setback from the road that he has to deal with.
That might have to be a planning question.
What was the question again?
Setback from the road for the leach field.
if we,
That's a
if
Board
we
of Health,
try to,
that's not us.
no, but I'm just asking, if you're looking for this to be an NOI, I just don't wanna reprocess this with a different form. If there's improvements that you wanna see, we should maybe talk about them and have an idea what you're looking for to change this.
We can have an informal conversation, but it,
Right.
voted, it has to come back. right?
No, I understand that, I understand, but I don't wanna just bring this back to you in 2 weeks and say, here you go, I made it into an NOI. I'd like to bring it back with improvements that are gonna meet the
Okay.
criteria you're looking for. You're looking for 1,000, less than
we'd like to see
1,000
that,
square
yeah.
feet. If we move the leach field further out, if we can, we'll
Yeah.
talk to planning or health about that.
Yeah.
Try to get to the highest, we are at the highest point on the property.
I think you're very confined on there, so.
It's a, yeah, he wanted 2 lots. He got one.
Right.
Yeah,
So
explain to him that.
he'll understand it. Well, if he doesn't,
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
you're welcome. Have a good evening, folks.
Move on to our next item on our agenda, which is the continuation of NOI 292-0414-112 Berkshire Ave and One Pine Road. Who's here to speak for the petition? Okay, there was a name and address for the records, please.
James Davenport, 112 Berkshire Ave.
Okay.
Ready?
Ryan Nelson from Arlebeck Associates.
Now, we did do a site visit this past week, and I believe the 5 members attended. So we have been on site.
In the rain.
Did it without you.
In the drizzle.
So I believe at the last meeting, Rob Levesque attended, and at the site visit, there was some concerns about drainage. of the
Drainage.
Site. So obviously we talked to Mr. Davenport, and we've incorporated a stone infiltration trench that would be located on the down gradient side of the patio, just before the vinyl seawall. So all of this patio impervious area is already pitched or will be pitched to that seawall. It's gonna sheet flow, hit that stone infiltration trench, which will have a perforated PVC pipe that is going to be routed to a subsurface dry well, 6-foot diameter dry well located in the grassed area off to the side. And that dry well is also going to collect roof leader downspouts from the deck in the house area. So,
Yeah, that's great.
like that, no other wall changes, no other structural changes.
One thing we noticed while we were out there, the vegetation that's actually on the lake isn't the greatest. Is there? Would we want to see them try to enhance the vegetation that's
On the shoreline, you're
on
saying?
the shoreline?
Yeah, it's
There's a lot of invasive, what is it? Mint?
the mint.
Not invasive.
Well, I was gonna say mint's pretty,
Mint's
it's
great,
tough to get rid of.
delicious.
If you want to just leave it, then that's even,
That's fine.
my only concern was the drainage, and that looks like it's an address.
Anybody else have any comments from their site visit?
Should we talk about that?
We talked about possibly replacing the trees that are coming down.
Yep. You said you had a list or something.
We have a list. I didn't bring my list. You have a list?
I'm
Andy,
sure.
right?
You did.
The trees that are coming down are gonna end up getting buried. Right,
No.
you're gonna fill above the stump.
Oh, yeah.
So
The stumps will come out.
is
Yeah.
it not the other way around? Do we leave the stumps? They're gonna rot under?
Ooh,
You're
no.
putting the retention
I'm putting
walls.
everything, yeah, big.
Generally, we leave the stumps to stop the erosion, but the retention
No.
walls are gonna fill that gap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
'cause
can't, you couldn't have those stumps, retaining wall with the stumps.
Yeah, I
So
don't
we're
want
gonna
any.
provide him with a list of plantings, or he's providing us with a list,
Well,
We have a list
Yeah,
of
like
trees,
approved one.
combination.
just trees.
Sure, yeah.
Wondering if I have. Some,
You said there was the list, approved plantings or something.
It's Massachusetts natives.
We have a little
So-
booklet, don't we, a little.
yeah,
yeah. Sorry, I meant to bring that list with me, but I forgot.
those people with the plant on the,
Maybe it's
Wait.
in Dennis's stuff.
Maybe.
So no plantings on the plan.
We're not proposing any.
You're not
We're
proposing.
We're
anything.
having the vinyl seawall along the whole
Keep the
length
natural stuff.
of the
Yeah.
shore.
So you
Yeah.
said there was plans for like loaming and seeding for grass?
Here.
Correct, yes. Yep, that area right there.
And so why can't plantings be done there?
It's all open grass today. I mean, it's where I store my docks. I mean, they would just get killed by the, I mean, I have to take the docks out every year. And it's where my boat lift goes.
the dock right here.
Yeah, it's just the, the aluminum.
So over here where you're putting that, couldn't you put some plantings over the drainage area?
Well, but that's where I stack the docks.
It's really
Put it
stored
where
in
pavers
winter.
are.
So in the
Oh, you
winter,
store the
yeah.
docks.
Store the
Falls
docks.
them out.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
tight quarters.
It's, yeah, there's
No
nowhere,
place, Ryan, that you could do any plantings there,
I mean, we could do it up here.
Yeah, we could do some small shrubs up on the side slope.
better
or-
than,
I mean, maybe off to the side,
I'd
but
prefer not. I mean, again, this is all sandy soil. It's not going anywhere. I mean, we were down there in the torrential rain.
you get some plantings out there.
maybe
I mean,
I'll
there's 5 trees that are proposed to be removed,
Mhm.
those
Up here.
valuable canopy. Um,
maybe up
to help
above
lower
the
the
retaining
temperature
wall,
of the
up on
water.
slope.
Yeah, we could certainly look up here and over here.
Yeah,
And I'm sure we could
That's where the
even
trees.
right
are
here.
really
That's where they're
being
at
removed.
today, yeah.
Um,
Nothing's down here today.
Right.
We could certainly, we have to come up above the wall, obviously, but come up right up here somewhere.
So this goes back to DEP's comments about. Here is its comment. I think you printed
even
them
talk
out.
about enhancing the,
Enhancing,
that's what we're talking about right now, right?
right, and I don't see any enhancement as far as habitat. This is like
Well,
essentially
trees
taking
are,
away
trees, trees, that's what the habitat is.
part of the habitat for sure, but like this is a
Put
sensitive.
bushes or trees. it's-
Yeah, we'll put them all up here. I really don't wanna put them down here, cause I
Right
mean,
there.
that's the only space I have in the whole
Nothing down
yard.
there right now.
There's nothing down there today.
Yeah.
Right, so I mean, replacing where it was taken
That's
from.
right.
Yeah, I'll move them up 10 feet or whatever.
You're not gonna be able to replace the shade cover, there's no way to do that, so you have to
Right.
mitigate, right?
Right, so the purpose of this, I think what we had discussed on the site visit was. You needed a retaining wall because things were removed, like trash was removed.
Well,
from
that
the
was over
area.
here, but I mean, the whole house, it's all powdery sand and it's,
Part of the ice house was.
it was part of the ice
Yes.
house, yeah.
So,
Got a big
Yeah.
sorry to
scarred
interrupt,
area,
Yeah.
yeah.
so the
Yeah.
need for this is to keep the house in place?
Well, the reason for this wall here is to stop erosion. And yeah, they've already had to repair it. Ryan Drennan had to come in and put a big keystone, I forget what they call it.
Potential undermining.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, this part of the house here has already got a little bit of a bow in the floor. I just gotta shore the whole thing up and backfill up against
Yeah.
the,
Look,
the
it looks
block
like it needs
foundation.
it from going out.
it does.
It's gonna erode if we
Yeah.
don't, you don't do something.
I mean, that's why,
It's gonna give you a little better area, so living area too.
yeah,
so.
I mean, that's the benefit here,
What about
but this is still
habitat?
40-degree.
Human habitat, yeah.
Yeah. I
Talking
mean,
about
it's,
wildlife.
it's still a 40-degree slope. I mean, it's,
But yeah,
All
would
we
you
can do
guys
is-
agree if they put some shrubs and
Yeah.
some kind of plantings in there, that would suffice?
I think it's reasonable.
do.
I mean,
Better than what
I mean,
they're,
it's,
when the
You
trees
saw it,
coming
right?
out, I think something needs to be put back and putting it back where they were originally. So
those
pretty
trees-
close. I mean, like right here.
well, some
those
of
trees
them
will be coming down anyway, cause you see them, they're birches. they're-
Right.
Yeah.
are dying.
Yeah,
I did a drive by the other
Yeah.
day during the nicer weather. We
Yeah.
took a boat right over
they're
there,
definitely past their prime.
right?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
And
it's
your
still up.
neighbor's big oak tree came down.
Yeah,
not
and
too far away.
Yeah.
Tammy was yelling over it today about it.
They're gonna do sheet piling.
Yeah, they're
up
over here.
towards the lake, so.
Yeah, this would be vinyl.
So,
So we'll certainly, if we want 5 trees, we'll plant shrubs here and up here. So we do all the retention.
did we talk about pervious impervious pavers?
Yeah. Well, that's why we added the whole drain system here.
So it's going to be impervious?
Correct. That is the desire. That's proposal, because you had asked for, give us, make a proposal.
I think
That's
all.
what we came up with.
So we agree, we're gonna put 5 trees for sure.
5 plantings, I don't know,
Oh,
whatever. We
That's
can-
not defined.
I would rather have trees than shrubs. That's my
I
personal.
mean, it's better to have it right on the plan. You could do it in
Yes.
the order of conditions, but
No,
I don't know if you guys,
we could, 5 trees to replace. Close as possible to original location.
Yeah.
Up
They can't be
hillside
on the
or
wall,
retaining wall.
Right.
Yeah, well, okay.
so I have a couple of technical questions before any decisions made. In The NOI, it says bordering land subject to flooding, size of proposed alteration is 232 square feet, and then the proposed replacement, 1,355 square feet. Can you explain that?
Sure, so
That's
that's
correct.
the surface area
Yeah.
alteration.
Yeah,
Not the actual volume, so that's just a trace of where we're doing a cut to grade versus where we're doing a fill to grade.
That's the floodplain, the
right. 'Cause this isn't-
behind, they're
part
gonna
of
take
this
it
isn't a
out. So what's it
floodplain.
gonna fill in?
Yeah.
Okay,
So our fill to grade is really this area right here. This 229, this heavy dashed contour, the flood zone elevation. So the work that's gonna be a fill or a displacement is in here, but then the whole rest of this is gonna be a cut to grade. So that's why the replacement area is bigger than the alteration area.
yeah, because that lower area is gonna be lower than it
Lower,
is, yeah,
yeah,
because
So
you had
there's more
mentioned that, it's up pretty high
floodplain
right
now
now.
than there,
Correct.
in the future than now.
Compensatory storage.
Thank you for answering that. Also, on the NOI, it says installation of shed.
Yes.
Up here.
So also in the buffer zone, there's going to be a couple for retaining walls above the house. These are noted here, and one of them will, be located on the downhill side of a proposed shed.
We did talk about having the phase two on that, if it,
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I did talk to there's two people still in the running to do this project, and they gave me some really favorable pricing if I do this now.
oh, really?
So I wanna try and go ahead and
Do you
do it
wanna
now.
do it?
Well, try and
No
get it done
phase
right
one
now.
and done it.
One and done. So if we could have our discussion about that, I appreciate it. Did you need the printer?
So,
Looks like a fairly gentle slope down to the retaining wall from the shed.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be grading up there?
No, this is all up here.
No, where the shed's
Here?
proposed? Yeah.
Yeah, this would be built up just here,
Right.
but it's kind of a weird thing. It's almost like an island right here. Well, you can see it,
Yeah,
right?
peninsula.
I don't know why, but
So it'll
that's,
be just up on top of that.
it'll just be up on top. I mean, obviously, we'll build the wall up
Right.
and then we'll leave a space because my oil tank's over here. Oil fill,
You need to get over there.
so, but twice a year.
Yeah, it's about,
And then the other reason for this is right now, this is sloped towards the house.
Right.
So I just wanna,
Mitigate
just,
water issues in the house.
you know,
yeah,
very small pitch back towards
Do
this.
you want them to come back with another plan with the plantings, or do you want to try to close it tonight?
are you asking me?
It's up to the board. Well, if you're gonna define what you want planted, then it has to show and say what they are. If you just leave it to them, then it could be anything.
Well,
Right.
we'll pick from whatever, list
So
you have.
typically, the angle on that is that, plantings that are non-invasive native plants.
Okay.
That's the preference for us.
So you could use that terminology with a specific amount
Right.
and write that into the order of conditions.
I would prefer to have it on the plan, because I would be the one looking at the plan for the certificate of compliance.
can that be a pre-construction item? We're happy to do it. It's
Yeah.
just the timing is an issue. So if this was to be approved tonight, not saying it is, but that would allow Mr. Davenport to start this project this fall, but a continuation would bump it to next spring.
So before any work would start, you would have that
Right.
plan
Sure.
for the commission.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. That way there you could have it on paper. And we could vote on it tonight.
Were you looking for a certain height of plant? It sounded like you were leaning towards trees compared to shrubbery. To give them some direction as to where.
Well,
to go to
typically,
get,
what
like,
do you do
done.
typically, Ryan, on the plantings or?
I would probably suggest oak trees. That's the majority of what's being removed. Those are the strongest. They
Yeah,
like dry
that's-
sandy slopes, which this is.
You got any thoughts on that, Andy?
I just, Sabrina was
The
talking
height.
about the canopy and, you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
how
it's
she
gonna be a
wants
long
it.
time before they ever get tall
Right.
enough to.
Well, I mean, it is on a slope too, so it's gonna be a long time.
Yeah.
Because they're down the hill
So,
from the grade.
and right, these would have to be installed by hand, so really anything over
All right.
6 feet
Right.
is not
Yeah.
really feasible to,
The mountain goat to get up there.
So you think 6 feet would be the maximum then?
yes,
What do you mean 6 feet?
in height. So a sapling maybe 1
Yeah,
to
you
2
can't-
inch caliber, 6
Oh.
feet tall.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
get
I
a.
thought you meant like the end game of.
No,
the tall
no,
yard.
no.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, so
He wants
you're
to-
saying-
Just, he's talking oak tree, which, and,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, just- You're saying you have to manually scale the hill to dig a hole.
Yeah.
So the tree can't be too big, you won't be able to get it up there.
Just the roots on that, just carrying the dirt and the roots in the tree, so it's gonna be.
You're looking for a motion to close the hearing, Norm?
If we need a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make a motion, close the hearing.
I'll second that. Okay, so Chris Pratt made the motion to close, and that seconded. Roll call vote. Dennis Clark,
Aye.
Mamet. Aye. Jerry. Aye. Andy.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
And Norm's and I as well.
Is someone wiggling their feet near the
It's okay.
power source?
So we need a motion,
Looking for a motion on, approving this plan as submitted
order of conditions.
with the typical order of conditions,
That's good, yeah.
$10,000 bond. And a planting plan to be submitted before any work starts.
Okay.
That sounds like a motion.
Yeah.
Any second? Chris Pratt is seconded. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote. Dennis Clark,
Aye.
Mamet. Aye. Jerry. Aye. Andy.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
And Norm Cheaters and I. So unanimous vote. And proceed with your project.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you.
You're on the way again.
And before we head out, did you receive the continuation? Alright.
Everyone.
Especially for a new chair.
I think so, right? Thank you.
All right.
Can we just pause for a moment? I'm not sure if the Zoom is actually recording. I'm having some technical.
Okay, we will pause while we try to.
So
solve it.
Michelle Pratt is on. She says she can see everything and it's perfect. So I'm not sure if we want to continue like this. I don't really need to see us. Not sure if you need to see yourself.
If it's working, it's.
She says it's working. It's probably recording. I think it's just on this computer. It's all funky.
But how do we know if it was down?
If
Well-
it cuts off, maybe somebody can reach out,
Unless.
tell us. It's not doing it. I think she reached out to Michelle and she said.
Michelle said it's fine.
Yes, it's good. You're fine.
It's back. Good.
Okay.
It was making some noises.
Okay.
But we're recording. Yeah, we are recording and we're not on mute and
Okay.
I don't know what this is all
we're
about.
good. All right.
Fine, that's stuff for me to mess with.
Next item on the agenda is an NOI at 7:15. I'll read the newspaper call on that. The Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaws, Chapter 182 and Chapter 450, for a request for determination. The project location is 81 Point Grove Road, map 114, parcel 176. The applicant proposes the removal of a beaver lodge within the middle pond of Congamon Lakes. Work is proposed within land under water bodies and waterways. This meeting will be a hybrid meeting, Zoom and in person. The hearing will be held October 2nd, 2023 at 7:15. Who is here for the petitioner? Okay, we have a note from the petitioner.
There we go.
On behalf of the applicant owner, Frank Willow Enterprises, our office is herein requesting the town of Southwick Conservation Commission continue the public hearing scheduled for this evening, Monday, October 2nd, in order to allow for more time to respond to comments issued by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection.
Yeah.
So
Is there comments from the DEP on that one?
there are.
Not attached.
I have the comments here. Do we want to review them or wait until?
It's a page and a half.
Oh, no, I got it. Never mind. No, I'd like to look at the NOI. I haven't even seen
Yeah.
that, so.
Yeah.
Electronically, please send me the notice of intent so I can,
This one is on the website.
hmm?
This one is on the website.
Okay, now, this
Okay,
is,
so
this is,
I have to go on the website. and check it.
Yeah.
this is requested.
Hmm?
Would you prefer to have them sent to you?
Yes.
Can we accommodate that, Gene?
Oh, you gonna have Jean send it?
Or do you want to send
They come to Sabrina, they don't come.
it? Okay,
So you're looking for a motion to approve the continuation?
before you make the motion, this is an RDA. Huh?
No,
This
I don't want it.
No.
Is this the one in question? Norm?
Yeah,
Doesn't this have to be done in emergency?
it needs to be re.
The newspaper article says it's an
It's been
RDA.
corrected.
It says RDA, well,
Oh.
it definitely,
It's been
gonna have to be
corrected.
re-advertised.
Did you re-advertise it?
We're going to.
I didn't see it.
There's no reason to see it because it's continued.
Okay,
Would you like me to
Correct.
go print it out? for you?
Was it advertised as a notice of intent in the paper?
The verbiage was wrong in the newspaper.
Okay, so I've gotta go back and do the advertising.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so it's in the process?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
then
So
before
they
we
asked
can
for
take,
continuation, and the new newspaper is going to be set for the next meeting.
thank you. Okay,
so
now,
like we discussed last time, they have to request a continuation and we approve it. We don't make the motion to continue things, so I'll make a motion to approve the
Okay.
continuation.
we
I'll
have,
second that.
we have a motion from Dennis, and Mamet seconded. To approve the continuation that was requested.
Correct.
Okay. A roll call vote, Dennis Clark,
Right.
Mamet,
Yes.
Jerry, aye, Andy,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Norm Cheever is an aye as well. Okay, now we'll go to the next NOI. The continuation from NOI 292-0412 662 College Highway. Who is here to speak on behalf of the petitioner?
Hi,
Name and address for the record.
Chris Chamberlain, civil engineer, Berkshire Design Group, 4 Ellen Place, Northampton. And here with Steve Ribberty, Bog Hunter Ecological Services. Good evening.
They bring their own easel.
It's a little easier to see when it's up right like that.
You got the special chair.
I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the solid one over here.
Taller.
It wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
So, and Jim Boyle, the project's owner, is in the audience. So we were here a few months ago presenting a notice of intent and presented some of that project, went through some comments. And one of the comments that came up was some potential questions around the wetland limits. And so this plan shows the delineation that we originally came through with. And so there were some questions as to the accuracy of this B line, and the commission asked for the owner to pursue a review from another wetland scientist, which is why Mr. Ribberty is here. And I understand everyone's been that there has been a site visit with Steve to walk through this new delineation. So this is the new existing conditions plan with the delineation. I want to let Steve talk through that and how we arrived at this new result. And then what we brought is a preliminary updated plan for the project, but we're really interested in making sure that everybody's comfortable with this delineation. It's a pretty detailed, particularly stormwater design. So we want to make sure we know what our limits are before we finish that off.
Good evening. As Chris says, I was, retained by the applicant under your guys' suggestion to kind of peer review the original wetland delineation. I actually I was provided with the GZA delineation, and I think there was a previous delineation that I saw as well.
The neighboring property.
Okay, and it extended down onto this parcel. That wasn't, that evident anymore in the field while I was out there. I think there were some remnant stakes. But, appearing on the plans, they were all kind of similar, the GZA one, the other one, I don't remember who had done that original delineation, and then mine. The back line, I think it's the A11.
Trade
Yeah,
for
this
now.
one sees that. Perfect. This back line here, the eastern side, I looked at that, that seemed very consistent with what was flagged previously, didn't have any changes to that boundary. And all those flags were fairly evident in the field. The western side, on this side, you know, I don't know why, maybe through mowing or whatever, but a lot of the flags, as they were kind of shown on the plan, you couldn't find them in the field, some of them were still there. Some of them probably just got mown down at the time since the original delineation. But when I went out there, which in a way is good, right? I didn't see those flags in the field, so I was just trying to establish a wetland boundary as kind of like I saw it as a wetland scientist, in my head at least. But I started in the upland, I worked my way into the wetland, I kind of went back and forth several times at different locations, going from, you know, obvious upland areas into obvious wetland areas to kind of try to see those transitions, see the soil, see the plants, how they change. It's a fairly difficult site, you know, it's a tough delineation for anybody. It's an old agricultural field. I found a lot of manipulated soils on site, you know, probably from historic agricultural use. When we saw it after you'd auger in, then you'd find one soil type and 3 feet away, you'd have something completely different, you know.
Is this, near the auto parts store?
That's right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the King brothers came in with this a long time ago.
Yeah.
This for delineation.
That's been manipulated so much, we found wetlands that were very, you know, it's
Yeah,
very, very difficult delineation. But I think that, to me, it looks as close as we're gonna get. But
yeah. So there's a lot of changes out there, a lot of, I mean, just plant changes, you know, when you get those type soils, you get a lot of wetland plants and uplands, you get upland plants and wetlands, you get stuff that doesn't make sense. So where my new line is, as you can see between the two, it's kind of on the, I guess it's the southern end here. My line kind of comes out a little bit more like this, and this end here, I cleared it out. To kind of capture some wetland communities up on the northern side. But it was pretty much a soils-based delineation. You know, on the wetter side of my newer line, it's almost 100% wetland hydrophytes, where on the upland side, those hydrophytes, the wetland plants start to peter out and transition to warrior.
do we need to vote on the delineation separately, or is that part of the NOI that's gonna?
Yeah, so, and Sabrina can correct me, but this is part of the NOI, so, but we're looking to get some formal acknowledgement that everyone's comfortable with the delineation. We'll also talk through some of the changes that will be coming through, in the proposed project.
So you had said that the soils are probably more than likely have been altered, and you can see that reflected when you did your sampling.
Yeah.
And then you based your delineation primarily on soils?
It was based on a combination of soils and plants. So, you know, I'm not looking, where they're altered, they were altered historically. So you still can see some of the evidence of, you know, what makes a wetland, some of the depletion of the soil and the, you know, the redoxamorphic features and so the alterations were long enough ago that those things are still happening. You know, it wasn't a perfect soil profile because you don't have, you know, your A, B, C, all the colors look nice, but you can still see some of those features. And one of the things that was most evident in the field were the oxidized rhizospheres, which happened much quicker in a soil development than, you know, some of those depletions and stuff which take, you know, decades or hundreds of years to form.
We did find some nice hydric soils that could be used for the replication area.
We call that buried one, yeah. it was a
Yeah, we'd
very-
like to see that incorporated into the replication.
What didn't those soils have the invasive Greek canary
And
grass?
that's gonna be part of the order conditions, invasive, you know, to make sure the invasives don't overwhelm the replication area for, I don't know, 5 years or so.
Yeah,
So
We want a wetland person to oversee it.
yeah, oh yeah, and usually many replication gets a minimum of 2 years under DEP, but. you know.
And in the original plan, we did have the design sketched out for the wetland replication. We're gonna have to update that a little bit, or as the wetland extent increased a little bit, the alteration area
A little
is gonna
more,
change. And
You're doing
That's
2-to-1 compensation.
yeah, that's actually a good segue to just show again our preliminary plan. So originally, and this is showing the new wetland plan, but with the original proposed, you know, the narrowest point of this wetland was previously thought to be on the southern property line. So we had a driveway straight in, with office building and parking lot all beyond the 50 and for the most part outside of the wetland buffer, with a small septic system for, that facility. And then the majority of the sites, on the slope, coming up, there's a rough high point here, and then fading to the back, all very good sandy soils. This is the main development, and again, to sort of sketch out the jurisdictional areas, this is the 100-foot wetland buffer and the 50-foot wetland buffer, so really keeping that crossing as the only real disturbance, or the only real impervious area within 50. But with this new wetland delineation, this no longer makes sense or is appropriate as the wetland crossing. So this is preliminary, essentially we mirrored the office and parking area, which now pushes that even really a little bit further out of the buffer. And we're coming up roughly in the middle, and hitting that point where the wetland really narrows out. We'll put retaining walls on either side of the driveway, so we don't have grading impacts, or alterations. And this ends up being right now roughly, we'll dial that in with the final presentation, 1,900 square feet of alteration. And then this shape here represents the wetland replacement area of about 4,000 square feet. And as I said, we've had wetland scientists develop details for that'll have to be updated for the new layout. And then, as you'll recall, not shown here, we're proposing a large number of young trees along this wetland corridor. Preference there is to go with smaller species, so we can plant a lot of them and really enhance that. We'd like to do that on these, really open sites where, we could plant 3 or 4 large trees, but what good is that doing versus, 20 years of a lot of smaller ones being able to grow up and provide some good shade. And then, of course, stormwater management is going to be really important. We're expecting 3 features, a smaller infiltration / water quality swale somewhere here in the front area to manage this pavement in this area, a large open infiltration basin here that's primarily going to capture the hillsides coming and pavement and roof area coming from this area and infiltrate that into the really good sandy soils that we have. And then we'll have an underground infiltration area in the back to capture some of the back portion of the site that'll overflow off-site, which is not wetland relevant, but it's important for making.
Is the DPW, Suffolk DPW reviewing the drainage?
Absolutely, yes. This was also submitted to the planning board at the same time we came. And so we've been in a holding pattern as we've been trying to nail down the wetland limits. Now I get to really put my head down and and get this back up to 100%.
You mentioned you have retaining walls on either side of the driveway. Is there any type of culvert or anything underneath it?
Yeah, so that we're
I
gonna
see a
maintain
little-
the hydraulic
Yeah, yeah.
connection. Sorry, we did
Yeah,
present that last time. I skipped over it. But yes, the plan is for a box culvert exceeding the minimum requirements for the crossing standard.
Perfect, good.
So when that's plowed, the snow's gonna go.
Yeah, so we're looking at snow storage certainly in our, water quality treatment area up here. And then I've got a different plan for the full set that shows sort of areas that drain to our stormwater controls. And we're designating those in places where they're gonna route through the stormwater system as opposed to.
The building itself has the roof leaders going into the infiltrators.
Yes. Yeah, we segregate the roof water. Some of the roof comes to this open basin, some of them to the infiltrators. We segregate that because there's no need to pre-treat it. So it just oversizes our water quality units if we bring that through.
Makes sense.
Did you move the stormwater basins? I believe DEP had an issue with where they were placed.
So they have not been final designed yet. And that, so this shape here recognizes that need to, so the DEP comment, as I recall, was that the storage of the stormwater was to be located outside of the 50-foot buffer. The consequence of that is it may push us to do more underground storage and put a lot of plastic chambers in this pavement here. I saw that, I think, wanted to open that up a little bit of discussion to the commission as to whether they felt that was a strict requirement imperative that the infiltration be located at least 50 feet from the wetlands, or if, with this open vegetated infiltration basin, if we could intrude in that a little bit to keep this as a natural scale stormwater management, we can make the numbers work with underground storage. It's more excavation, it's more plastic in the ground. So we really liked the idea of maximizing the use of this basin, but to balance the entire site, that would require intruding some of the storage beyond the 50-foot line. And if that's a no-go, we'll design around it, but I guess I'd
How
like
much
to-
is the 50-foot buffer? Is it a couple of feet or?
It's right on it.
There's
Well,
two stormwater
again,
basins.
this isn't sized yet.
Oh.
And it seems that the requirement is about the storage as opposed to the grading
I mean, you
impacts.
might want to talk to your client because the plastic underground, I think is easier to maintain in one of these basins, because these usually get filled up with,
Yeah,
you name it.
well, we're gonna have one anyway because we just need the volume. We need quite a lot of volume, but if this gets squeezed outside of 50, then at that point, we'll be adding an additional
Yeah.
feature underground. So basically what it is the stormwater handbook has a number of different features that you can design, and it has, recommendations for where they be located. And, what it says is that infiltration is supposed to occur outside of the 50-foot buffer. I don't know whether that's more about water quality or just the hydraulics
Is that a
being.
BMP, best management
Yeah,
practice? So
exactly.
it's not written in stone.
I take the stormwater handbook as strong guidance, as opposed to black and white, because we then have to apply those things in the real world, which is challenging. So,
But you're only intruding on well, this isn't the final design, so you really
Correct.
can't even comment.
Like to see the lines, yeah.
sure.
Okay, so to repeat, you're only looking for approval on the delineation, is that correct?
And I don't know
Verbal
that we're,
approval, right? Not
Yeah,
approval, just a-
right, just an understanding that,
Okay.
We're not gonna ask
having
for a
been on the
third,
site, having reviewed, now 2 wetland delineations, that what we're presenting here in terms of the limits are generally accurate.
Looks better. All right, I would like to read a short paragraph from the Mass DEP Wetland Delineation Handbook. This is for the commissioners. Sites with altered hydrology areas or fill in areas where soils have been physically disturbed may lack or have misleading hydraulic soil characteristics. In these areas, use vegetation and other indicators of hydrology to delineate the BVW boundary.
Yeah,
I think
this is
that's what it said,
definitely.
which is what we did,
one of these
right?
sites.
And we did talk, just for the record, we've had 2 site visits to this 662A College Highway, one for the first delineation and one for the second delineation. Okay. So we want a verbal, what you're looking for?
Yes.
I'm comfortable with it, with the new delineation.
That looks fine to me. Me too.
Anybody uncomfortable with it?
I continue to be recused.
Yes, so noted. And he's recusing himself. Okay,
Chris, he can vote on it now because we pretty much reviewed everything.
That I was comfortable, so it's not a formal
Oh,
vote.
but I mean,
Yeah.
in the future, because,
Correct. And
you know, if you weren't here for the original
then they'll come
meetings,
up to plan with the new plan
we kind of
and everything, so.
started from scratch tonight anyway.
Right. Yeah.
does that suffice for your information
Absolutely
required?
does. And
Okay,
looking forward to
Now you
getting
can
hard
do
to
your
work
work.
on the details. Again, at least I'm familiar with the site by now.
Thanks for coming in.
thank you very much.
You're gonna have to ask for a continuation.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, we would like to request a continuation.
Yeah, the date.
There's a form you need to fill out.
Right.
Okay.
Bring the forms here.
Straight out.
No, I think there must be still.
I'm not standing up and sit down too often.
Okay, let me
You might not be able to see
I'll just continue to be recused.
Collapsing chair.
Do you wanna wait until we have a piece of paper and requesting the continuation?
Well, they need to tell us the date, and everything else too.
Okay. All right.
Oh, next meeting, oh, no, you're right.
They might not have it planned out yet.
Right.
All right, we'll wait.
This is frustrating. I don't know what's going on with this tech thing.
I don't know what to tell you.
Michelle says it's fine, so
Okay.
as long as it's recording, but
So who made the motion for the continuation?
We didn't, yeah, but wait.
They have to make,
Oh,
We're-
they have to.
we have to agree with the request.
Oh, he took my pen, so I took yours.
I have extras.
do you need a pen?
No.
My pen.
There are a couple around.
With someone with green.
Jean took your.
Container.
She just said it. That's right.
Let's see.
16th is the next one.
Mhm.
You'll be ready for the 16th?
Yeah.
So then
Huh?
November sixth, unless that's a holiday, but I don't think it's a
I
holiday.
don't think it shouldn't be part of that.
Like
The next week
November
is,
10th or something, isn't it?
yeah.
The next Veterans Day, but that's what, the 11th?
That's the 11th, yeah.
11th hour.
So November 6th, November 20th. It's a first and third Monday minus holiday.
Sure. And if you can't make your first guess, you can maybe make second.
Yeah,
You can ask for another.
Right.
let's go with the sixth and then,
Okay.
we can always do this again.
Okay.
That's
So
fine.
the petitioner has requested a
The box.
continuation.
That's confusing.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I'll move for a continuation. Okay, and a second? Second. Roll call vote. Dennis Clark, Matt, Jerry. Aye. Andy. Hughes. Rich Pratt.
Aye.
And Norm Chivers and I. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to new business. Thank you. And the first item of new business is reorganization of the committee. We need to elect a chair, a vice chair, and a CPC representative.
Fritz Pratt cannot be the CPC representative because he's an elected.
That's correct.
True.
So let's start with the nominations for the chair of the Conservation Commission.
I make a recommendation that Dennis Clark, chair. Conservation.
Is there anybody here that's had experience at being a chair in this for,
Dennis has been,
I would nominate Chris Pratt.
Let them
as chair.
fight it out.
We have a nomination for Dennis. Do we have a second? Two good choices. I'll second that. Okay, we have a nomination for Chris. Do we have a second? I'll second. Do we have any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, then we'll go to a vote on. First one was Dennis.
Aye. Oh, I'm.
no, you said aye.
No.
Yeah, that's it. We're
I
gonna do a roll call
No,
vote.
nobody seconded mine. No, I didn't get. Nobody
You
seconded.
seconded.
You did.
We got a second.
No, that wasn't, I can't, I'm not allowed to.
No.
I'm out.
Nay.
So for the nomination of Dennis Clark as the chairman, we'll take a roll call vote. Dennis,
Nay.
Mamet,
This is tough for me, man. I know both these guys.
You're not gonna hurt anybody's feelings unless you could say yes for something.
Yes.
Jerry.
I'm in the same position. They're
We all are.
both very qualified, but I'll say nay.
We'll say nay. Andy Rear,
I'll say nay. Sorry, Chris.
Chris Pratt,
Aye.
Norm Cheever. Aye. How did that
How's that?
vote get recorded?
No, you can't, because you're 3-3.
3 to
So
3.
that motion and vote doesn't.
Vote.
This is gonna be like.
All right,
We're missing a
The
guy.
only thing you can do now is because there was a motion for
For
Chris
Chris.
Pratt.
Vote that, yeah.
Is
And
if
somebody-
his vote
yes,
is
okay.
for-
right.
So the motion to vote Dennis as the chairman has failed.
Right.
Now we'll vote on the motion for Chris Pratt as chairman. Roll call vote, Dennis Clark,
Aye.
Lumet,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Chris Pratt.
So,
Yes, you can.
might as well say aye.
Yeah.
Alrighty, good.
And Norm votes aye also, so it's a unanimous vote that,
Well, thank you, everybody, for your
Congratulations.
confidence.
I'll let Michelle know.
okay?
The only reason,
Congratulations.
the only reason we did it, Chris, is because we already had your names.
That is true as well.
Okay,
Yes, it'll save us like
I get it.
$10.
so Mr. Chairman, are you ready to take over the rest of the meeting?
Sure, okay.
We need a vice
I need
chair.
a vice chair, so we will now be looking for nominations for a vice chairman. Do I have any nominations? Why are we switching seats? We don't.
You're the one who started it. You initiated the switch.
Yes.
You can read his text.
Okay,
Moving up in the world.
we have a motion for a vice chair.
Norm, you did a great job, by the way.
Yeah,
Definitely very
Thank you.
impressive.
Thank you.
Really
You
stepped
should be
up.
the vice chair, just say.
She really stepped up, Norm.
Anyone want to nominate anybody? For vice chair? Anyone else? It's like the old days. Somebody say something.
Well, does anybody want the position?
We really
It
need,
doesn't
Or is
matter.
there- it's some-
We
It
need a
appears not.
vice chair, just in
Yeah,
case
that's
chair
what's
can't
happening
make
right now,
it.
right?
Chair
I'm
goes-
certainly willing to take the position if you so want me to.
Okay, Norm, nominate, you can nominate yourself, by the way.
I'm nominating Norm, I
I
already
do
did, I
too.
think.
Okay.
Two. All right, two.
Yeah. A motion. In a second?
second,
Yeah, we do. So Norm made the motion, seconded by Andy Reardon. We'll do a roll call vote. Norm,
Aye.
Dennis,
aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Chris, aye.
Aye.
Matt, Andy,
Aye.
aye. Norm,
Thank you. Aye.
welcome.
Back to you.
Back to the fire.
Yep. Okay, and our Community Preservation Committee representative, I will right now nominate Dennis Clark. He has been involved with community preservation since its inception here in town and knows just about everything there is.
Absolutely.
I spoke to Stuart Sagner just this past week and he said to say hello. And I said, well, maybe he'll be back too. He said, let me know. So
If you insist.
my nomination is Dennis Clark.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Chris Pratt, second by Jerry Patria, Norm Cheever, roll call vote,
Aye.
Dennis Clark,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Chris Pratt, aye,
Aye.
and Dennis is our CEC representative.
Very good.
All right.
Where we were, right?
That's good.
I don't think we have the person for the droop here.
Still connected to Green?
I guess we're still connected. Michelle hasn't said anything like, where are we?
Okay.
So it's just.
Okay, we have a
glitchy.
presentation for the Bennett North Pond, recycling Bennett North Pond,
Thank you, Michelle.
troop 12916.
916.
I guess we don't. We'll maybe
Not
postpone
today.
that till some other time. Okay, we have pre-construction site visit complete at 21 White Street. Repair of retaining wall.
Yes, that's just an update to let you guys know that I did the pre-construction site visit. Everything's good. So if you get a call saying that there's a retaining wall being built, we know about it.
Okay.
No erosion or silt fences are proposed to go up because it's basically just right along the shore. So
That's the gentleman putting the big concrete blocks in.
Yeah, what did he call it? Drop block or something? It's a technique or something.
Yeah, he had a flyer and everything for that.
Yeah, they do it at Lake George.
I forget his name, but-
Okay, we have also a possible wetland violation at 18 Oak Street.
None, wanna take that over?
Yes, we had a complaint from the parking lot for, Island Way, the island. There's a lot of, silt that's come into the parking lot that is blacktop and it's covered and was going into, the canal, which is part of the lake, okay? And I went out in the rain and did observe that was happening, and then on Saturday, I didn't go up to look at, the Oak Street where it's coming from. Oak Street is actually about 25 feet higher than the parking lot. But on Saturday, when it was pouring rain, I went back and it was just gushing down, off of Oak Street. The stream was about 2 inches in depth. And the owner of, I believe it's 18 Oak Street, had put in a garden, not on his property, but right at the end of Oak Street. It had modified the hill with stones so that the water would flow down. When I went back down during that really heavy rainstorm, down to the parking lot, the water that was coming down the hill into the parking lot wasn't coming down nearly as the rate as it was at the top. And the water was clear. So I suspect that there's something blocking the water on the steep hill, which is wooded. So I'm gonna go back and do some more research and see if I get any pictures. So
I see that Randy Brown was out there and he said it looked like it had resolved itself and the water was running clear.
it was running clear, but
Yeah,
it was at a much slower rate at the bottom of the hill, which didn't make sense.
Hmm.
So I'll report on it back next. time.
Okay, yeah, because Randy did, he said, I took a look at this location today, this is his email. During the rain event, that was September 29th. And he said, I don't have any issues with the modification made at the end of Oak Street. I assume the homeowner did this directly. The concrete and stone swale was taking water from the street and functioning well. I did not walk down the hill to see if that was a source of any sedimentation. However, I did drive to the parking area, and at the end of Island Pond, there was water coming off the hill, but it looked pretty clear. It was not mucky at all. And then he had an attached picture. That likely came off the hill at one point, but water was passing over it today and did not pick up any noticeable amount of sediment as it washed through the parking area into a catch basin. He'll continue to keep an eye on this location.
So the distance from the end of Oak Street to the canal is about 85 feet, so.
that's what it is.
So we'll keep an eye on that.
Did anybody contact Nick Taylor, let him know that
Oh,
we're out there?
I was on site with him and he called me from Florida today, so.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay, we also have another possible wetland violation at 39 Beach Street.
You wanna take this over? Or should I?
You should take this one.
So this is, an educational experience, I guess, maybe a wake-up call for 39 Beach Street. Norm and I and a few other people from the town hall were called to 39 Beach Street for a different reason, not for any wetland violation. But while we were there, we noticed some not so good things happening. There is trash in the wetland. There was potting soil being tossed into the wetland. There were leaves being tossed into the wetland, and there are also vegetation being cut from the wetland.
And also dog manure was
Do-
being thrown into the well.
Yes.
And the reason why we were called, the owner of the property, his dogs had gotten sick. So at least two dogs were saw. And while she was out kayaking, she noticed that there was a pipe coming into the lake that intermittently brought a lot of water. Hinting that it could be a sump pump or a washing machine. So DEP was with us. They are investigating where this pipe leads to.
Oh, good.
Is it DEP or DPW?
DPW, excuse me, thank you, DPW. Good, DPW.
Is that Beach Road?
So-
Beach Street?
Beach Street is the last house on Beach Street.
Is that down by the
It might be one of
town
those.
beach?
Yes, down by the town beach, last house.
Google doesn't find Beach.
Right
Street.
around the corner from me, past the swamp.
Beach Road.
It's always been a problem down there.
Now, the fact that we were called there by the owner, we appreciate that, and Sabrina and I discussed, what action do we take? We want to penalize her for identifying things in the wetlands that she had caused. We're gonna handle that part delicately. We're gonna wait and find out the cause. The cause might even come from her house.
Yeah.
She says she doesn't have a sump pump, but
Some people just don't know.
that's right.
I think you guys are walking, tread lightly and.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, the other violation things, you let them know if they're ignorant,
yeah,
they can fix those or mitigate them.
We do need to get more education out. there,
Yeah,
too.
that was the whole wake up
Jumping
call that I
their
was saying, is
Right.
that she was saying she loves wetlands and appreciated them, knows
Yeah.
that they're important, but. So wetland violation after wetland violation, it's like, oh, you're doing something wrong.
That's good to educate people. I mean, there's a lot of people that just don't understand what they should
Right,
be doing.
right.
They just don't
So
know
it's not a
any better.
bad thing to inform. Okay. All right, we also have a possible wetland violation at 579 Forest Road in Suffield. This is new for me. They have a Suffield address.
Oh,
Yes.
right, but you took us for a ride.
Yes,
when we
I
had a
brought you over there, but to have a violation to look at.
yes.
look. Right,
You took a
yeah.
little boat ride over. And to look at the weed situation
Yes.
and notice other things.
Well, this one, we got a call from a neighbor. Saying that there was a jetty being built by her next door neighbor. And Sabrina went out and looked at what was happening and found some issues. I went out and took some pictures. And I sent the pictures to Sabrina, and Sabrina took the initiative to contact the wetlands enforcement officer in Suffield, who immediately sent out a violation letter to the owner. So in my 4 years with relationship with the Conservation Commission, this is the first time that I'm aware of, where we got satisfaction from assistance from.
Where they've actually taken
They
action.
have taken action.
Yeah, it's the first.
So-
for-
Sabrina, congratulations.
Just relaying an email.
Well,
I wish they're all that easy.
Are they filling in?
Is it rocks that
You
they're
said
putting
they're
in
creating
there
a
for
jetty, are
soil?
they filling stuff in?
he changed the shoreline.
Yeah.
Two areas. Number one, maybe you can get the picture.
I'm
of
gonna,
that.
yeah, I'm gonna try. Hopefully the computer will
He
leak out.
built, what my interpretation of a jetty. Stones going out into the water and then put a dock onto it.
Oh,
But he also altered the shoreline by increasing, there's the picture there.
So the blue line on here is where you're saying it should be where the natural,
Natural shoreline
let me
should be.
share this. Oh, no. Oh my gosh. I don't know. It could be a loose wire and I just don't know what's going on. Right. Okay, so we're here. Yeah, so like Norm had said, this blue line is where he thinks.
So everything to the right of that line is altered state,
Yes,
okay? And then as you can see, there's stones coming down the hill.
yes.
So he graded that all down, took out all the vegetation down.
Yes.
And that's really what the citation was by the enforcement officer. I'm hoping that he'll take action on the changing of the shoreline as well.
Changing of the shoreline, is that Massachusetts though?
We don't know, probably never will know. It's,
Because that's
it's
the
always
whole-
been a bone of contention between
Okay.
Connecticut and Massachusetts, and nobody wants to get into the legal battle. That's why we
Right.
say whatever's in the water is Massachusetts, whatever's on the shore is Connecticut.
But there,
It
and
was
there's,
extended.
And that's not written in stone, that's just what we have agreed to with Connecticut.
it looks like there could be some major erosion. There's like a road carved down through the hill, through the lake. It did erode quite a bit.
Yeah,
Earlier
but
this spring.
before they
gets
put
into the
those,
water,
that
then it-
stone there,
Right.
and it's still eroding even on the side right here, that's not stabilized.
What are they trying to do?
I think make it more accessible.
Yeah,
Just for information, Gene, he had 6 structures in the water that did not have stickers on them. And they're
these-
not on your spreadsheet, so.
Are they on your spreadsheet that says who didn't pay? I sent you a whole list of all the Connecticut people that,
I haven't had time to study that one yet, Gene.
okay.
Okay,
That's refresh.
so that's the
um,
original, the first picture there. Go back to the
Here?
first picture.
Yeah. I think it's down there.
Okay, this is right from the shoreline, so you can see where the shoreline used to go.
so this
Yep.
is her, oh, is this what she means by the jetty?
Well, she
Or a
thought
jetty.
everything was a jetty.
Okay,
That's what I interpret as the jetty, but the sand beyond the jetty, the neighbor called the jetty as well.
Where he didn't dredge it out.
Right.
So, let's see. I was gonna say, how did it get vegetation?
Yeah, right,
Well, now I get it. He just carved it back.
carved it, yeah.
Ooh, this computer's just something else.
Okay,
So that's the update.
that's the update on that.
Good job, Sabrina.
Really, I barely did anything for that one.
Take a compliment when you can get it.
Thank you.
Okay, and we also have a discussion coming up, Assistant Conservation Coordinator with Activities.
Yes, I'll take that one. I asked for that one to be on there.
Okay,
In my short stay as the acting chairman of this commission, I learned a lot about position of the coordinator and the 24 hours a week that she's entitled to work on this project. There's not enough time. She's not allowed any overtime. And Dennis could probably.
That's why I left.
Yeah, yeah.
Couldn't,
So difficult.
I was working 35 hours a week and getting paid for 24, and they
Insane.
refused to give me an extra hour, 2 hours, they absolutely refused.
So,
It's too much.
yeah, so I think we should explore maybe grants or something so that we can fund the position full-time. But in the interim, I'm suggesting that, and I'll give you a couple of examples of how we can assist our coordinator. For instance, this weekend, I went to a dock violation, met with the neighbors, took pictures, wrote a draft letter under Sabrina's name,
Oh, I need to read that.
sent it to her,
It's probably
the
misspelled,
picture. And,
bad
you know,
conjugations.
and it said, modify the letter as you see fit, and the whole intent was getting action in the field sooner than we are today. 579, Forest Road in Suffield is another example. We got to the issue faster. There were other issues that are happening on the lake and other wetlands that we're not getting to fast enough. And if we can volunteer to assist, do site visits, take pictures, write a draft letter, we're gonna get, we'll save hours of Sabrina's time and we'll get faster action to the problem.
You
Might
retired,
save-
Norm?
It might save 3 hours of Sabrina's time, but it might take save 2
You're
or 3 weeks
retired too, right?
to get an action on the site. And I'm willing to continue to do it, but if others can sign up
Thank
too. I think
Appreciate it.
Would,
very
make the
thoughtful.
commission and the coordinator more effective than they are today.
I've got like, about 5 possible violations that need action that I haven't had time.
So we can't
To
do
do
what
any-
we don't know about.
Right,
That's right. So I didn't know about any of those things you did. So
Right, so it's
somehow
gotta
it
be
needs
put
to be
out
a
to us.
forum, right?
Right.
Like Sabrina's wish
I can
list. I
send
wish
it
someone
out.
would go here.
Right.
I wish someone would go there. I wish someone would bring me lunch.
Please
Put it on the
make me a latte.
So if we can get volunteers and we'll start giving them up a little bit.
I think like she did this past Friday, she sent out, help me over at,
Yeah.
Noble Steed.
Yep.
So I think, you know, Dennis went out there to look at things, so I think that was a good,
That's another.
Look into some additional forms of funding so she can actually
Yeah.
do her job.
yeah, I think that would be the best way to go about things. You know, putting things on the commissioners who are volunteering already to come in is okay,
Yeah.
but I think,
Well, I
She
agree,
needs
long term,
hours.
that's the solution.
Right.
But it will help
That's
out as
not
much
gonna
as
happen.
we can. No, really like what you're doing and that's a great idea.
Right.
I'll do it if I can help, I will.
Yeah. so I think Sabrina puts it out to like, help me, I need, you know, can somebody go out here?
Yeah.
Sometimes people can, sometimes they can't, you know, I mean,
Even if
It
she's
works.
on the books full time, it's always good to have a wingman.
absolutely.
So if you're gonna go out
Right.
on Noble
Right.
Steve, we should know you're going on Noble Steve, maybe one of us can come along.
Steve, what? Just a question. Why are you here?
I just like to watch you.
Oh,
No, you don't.
does anybody have any business they
You
want to have us
stay
address, or you can leave?
We're on your old business.
Oh, okay.
Is.
I'm new tonight, so I just want, I was thinking, did we miss?
Hasn't been here for a
No,
while.
he's next.
Yeah.
He's next.
Okay,
Oh my gosh, why am I supposed
All right.
to stay here for that?
all right, so. Thank you, Norm, for the thoughtfulness, and we will pursue. All right, we'll go to old business now, which I can see. Request for plan alteration, DEP file, 157 Feeding Hills Road will be continued right now.
You saw me, you're supposed to, I want to sit back here.
Oh, you're sick too.
I went to Florida and came back with a lovely head cold.
Perfect.
Or you're
So
just.
change in
karaoke.
weather.
Welcome back, Chair.
Thank you,
Welcome
sir.
back, Mr. Clark. I apologize to the commission for, failing to follow through with procedure and submit the form, for a continuance. I emailed Sabrina and said, I need a Sabrina, and she said, okay, and I apologize for that. That's probably why we're on the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Now you're just old business.
In the bad chair.
You're top of the old business.
That's how the business.
Yeah.
So just to refresh,
And this gentleman, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Arturo Serbinskas, I'm owner of the property.
Rick,
Sorry.
this goes back to when you were on the commission for Craig's Tea House.
Yeah.
And we submitted a plan to, for them to put up 3 gazebos and a walkway. And the walkway came out beautiful. Some of the work they've done is really nice. The gazebos were, built larger than anticipated, and I don't have an explanation for that. But the analysis is that the gazebos, although they're bigger, one is a little closer to the wetland, one is farther away from the wetland. So in one aspect, I feel that that kind of maybe cancels out the violation. Okay, the other thing that was interesting, and when the gazebos were designed, the buildings were here and the floodplain was like this. Okay, and the idea was that a gazebo would be open and any waves or anything going over the top would be allowed to. But it was designed to be right at the floodplain like this. And what happened was they built, they were going to use the Technoposts, but back then the supply and demand chain killed them, and they came in and got approval from you guys to use sonotubes instead. So they put sonotubes. And when they did that, what happened was the buildings that were built got elevated by about 6 inches. Okay, and so I did the math and I submitted it the last time, whatever it was. And what happens is, although the structures are large, by having them up another 6 inches, actually mathematically makes it less disturbance by about 60 square feet or whatever it is, than the 600, the original size would have been. So some twist of fate, however you want to look at it, by having the thing 6 inches higher, actually displaces the same amount or a fraction less than what the original buildings would have done. And so, yes, they're larger than what the plan had called for. But I think when you look at the impact on the resource area, and that's really what the focus is, the resource area, the floodplain and all that. I don't think the impact on any of that has changed.
What's the request for alteration? What do you want to alter?
Well, the plans called for certain size gazebos and they were built larger than they.
We're just concerned with floodplain, though. We don't concern ourselves with the size of things. Unless it takes up more room in the floodplain.
I mean, that was all altered area anyway before.
It's all yard, it's all altered. As a matter of fact, we're going for a zone change for the property. And what I did was, I'm only going for the zone change that includes the developed portion and maybe just a little extra for like a rear setback from that zone. But the rest of the property is gonna remain AC, agricultural conservation restriction. It's all wetland anyway, so why bother changing the zone?
So you don't want to alter the amount of floodplain disturbed then.
Right. So, to be honest with you, you know, what they did, the buildings are larger than they're supposed to be. They're not exactly what I thought a gazebo was gonna be, but they do it. And, I mean, but what's above the floodplain is really not jurisdictional. Right? So I'm asking that they get approval for the modification that they made. And then we would, it's gotten very complex and confusing, so I'm gonna ask for your help a little bit too. By getting this approval to have the buildings as they are, we would then come in for a partial certificate of compliance. And the reason it's a partial is because we haven't put the handicap ramps on yet. They don't have the ability to use them right now. That's why we're going for a zone change. There's also another issue with septic system and the size of that as opposed to the capacity that the restaurant could have using it. So we're massaging all this stuff to try to make it work. And if they get the zone change, then the septic system concept would be allowed to
be enlarged.
Well, not necessarily be enlarged, but what happens is that their water use, I have the water use from since they've owned it and all the previous owners, and the design criteria for the septic system is 3,200 gallons a day or something like that per number of seats, and they use a fraction of that. So their recorded water usage for that property, for that business is like a third of what the design criteria is for. And under Title V, if we can show that, you can get a modification of that. Excuse me.
So you'd be seeking that to the health department?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Excuse me. That's what the hell, I'm just giving you the big.
Right, no,
Yes.
big picture is good to see.
Right, exactly. So,
Chris, we can't give out a certificate of compliance if it's not in compliance, so.
Right, we can't,
Not a partial.
we've never done partial.
Why would you want that anyway?
Right.
um,
Do you need that to seek the other part?
it would help.
Because we can't really, there's nothing to modify in the order of conditions. You're not changing anything as far as
Well, the footprint of the building's changed. We're approved for a certain size footprint of the building.
but that's out of our jurisdiction. You said that already. That's.
Well,
The
the issue that came up at prior meetings was they came in with Plan A. Okay, and then they executed Plan B and didn't tell us.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the issue that we've had on the table
Right.
before.
Buildings are. on the
That's why
site.
we're trying to be.
Do you have the calculation, Steve, of the
I submitted it.
floodplain?
I
Okay,
did submit that.
being new,
before.
I didn't see them.
I understand.
Come in with an as-built plan.
I submitted a plan and that showed where the buildings are, where they were supposed to be. And then the difference in the calculation for the displacement.
We have that plan.
Yeah.
Being that they're 6 inches higher, is there water flowing under the buildings?
Yeah.
Groundwater.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that mitigated some of it, right? Some of what would have been
Well,
a displaced.
Here's the building that would be blocking the floodwaters.
Yeah.
And we had a design like this, and based on those calculations and the size of the floodplain and the wetland, it was really negligible considering what was happening.
Okay.
So what they did was they elevated the building, even though the
Yeah,
building
with
is
the
large.
sonotubes, sure.
So the surface area that's blocking the water actually remains about the same, even though the buildings are large.
Did you have to put more sonotubes in that were proposed? Is that, because that's the only jurisdiction that you really have is this.
The sun, well,
Usually we're
there
gonna have
would've
the
been-
helical piers and that,
there would have probably been the same amount of sonnet, well, no, there'd be more sonotubes because the buildings are large. Yes, that's,
alright.
that's, yeah,
Come in with that calculation and,
I can do that.
But your groundwater flows underneath the buildings.
Right,
yeah,
right.
and the only thing that would be in the way would be the sonotubes.
Right, that just
Yeah,
takes
that-
a volume of floodplain. So we need to see the calculation of that extra volume taken
So
up.
Because
by
what you said
the-
was very interesting, that it actually worked out favorably. So I,
Well, I don't say favorite, it just kind of, it came out to be the same, that like I said, I just struck a lot.
that's interesting.
That by raising it up 6 inches,
Right.
it negated the exercise.
Okay.
That would come in, yeah, with a modification for the jurisdictional areas. And I still don't know about the certificate of compliance without having the project completed, and that's.
Mr. Chair,
Right, we have that,
gentleman had his hand up in the.
that comment, yeah.
Yeah, first of all, these buildings are not gazebos.
You can identify yourself.
Matt McCaskey, 145 Beating Hill Road, sorry.
Thank you.
They're not gazebos. One of my concerns would be, you talk about free flowing, as soon as you put ADA compliance in there, now your water flow, usually a handicap ramp is gonna run the whole length of these buildings. Now your free flow of water is no longer there, because you now have a ramp that's connected to it, that's gonna cause this restriction. So, I mean, the other question I'd say is you probably need to do a full site evaluation, because you gave, you talk about number of sonotubes. You're gonna have to put footings in of some kind of this handicap ADA compliance ramp. Where is this building with respects to where you originally approved? How close are they to the wetlands? Did all the excess building get put towards the wetland versus did it get centered? All of these questions, with all due respect to Mr. Salvini, you're going off of his word on this being 6 inches higher by chance or, whatever terminology. I'd like to see, with how this building of these buildings has gone such a ride from being a gazebo, which would be a sit down, for a small period of time, to increasing our footprint by having entertainment and seating capacity out there. It's totally gone awry from a gazebo environment where you go out and you sit down for a small period of time and you move on. You enjoy the scenery and then you move on. It doesn't seem like that has happened. I know there's a term within your town called existing compliance or something like that, where the property has a footprint and the increase in the footprint is not something that was gonna occur. I could be corrected on that terminology, but to use these buildings for other than a gazebo type environment is not what the original intention was and what you guys reviewed initially.
Right, the problem, and I understand your point of view. I totally get it. That wasn't what was approved, but we don't approve what kind of structure goes there. We approve only how it impacts the wetland resource areas. So as far as what Mr. Salvini's argument is going by is that design, even though it's not what was proposed, is still not as impactful as what was proposed originally. But like we said, also, the partial certificate is something that we don't generally do because of the other things that you just mentioned, like the handicap accessible ramp. We need to see all of what's gonna be proposed before we give compliance.
We'll have Mr. Salvini come back with a plan showing us what was done in compliance and what isn't. And, we'll look at that and then
We need to
have
see
something to.
all the calculations
But
of
as
what
far
is
as the other
now
stuff
and
that-
what will become.
And planning board issues is what you're talking about with other things. He could have put chicken shacks up there for all week, it's out of our jurisdiction.
Right, yeah, and I understand your point of view, believe me,
Just as a answer to that, the original plan showed the handicap ramps on it, and were kept part of the calculations for all of them.
So they're gonna be the same, Steve?
Relatively the same. They're probably gonna change a little
We're
bit.
gonna wanna be able to
Yeah.
see that in the calculations.
They're not gonna be,
Cause now we need the as-built and the proposed new
I would challenge that, just like the original square footage, if you corrected me on, Mr. Salvini, about all the buildings were proper and they were the right size and you reevaluated that. I've seen the original request, and there was no.
We shouldn't be getting into this
Yeah,
conversation.
we're not gonna have
now.
a back and forth. I appreciate your comments and, but we're not gonna have.
Previously, thank you.
I'm trying to
So
find,
you asked for a continuation on this
Yes,
to the
um,
next meeting? Did we get that in writing, Sabrina?
not yet.
no, I'm trying to find, he did send the as-built plan and that's what we're looking for right now. Right.
Yes.
And that, is that
But
it?
we're gonna want as-built and the proposed new ramp.
And he's gonna come, in, he's
Okay.
gonna show us what is in compliance, what isn't, so we.
Okay, cause
With
I
all
don't
the-
want,
with all
I'm
the
trying
new
to find it, right,
calculations.
I've been trying to find it and it's like buried and,
That's okay, it's,
okay.
Yeah, so we'll let Mr. Salvini know what we're gonna be looking for.
Have everything on the table so everybody knows it, because it's so
Right.
confusing.
Okay.
That's been going on for a
I don't
while.
want it to be continued because I can't find it.
Sir,
It's always been a floodplain issue.
we have one more comment from the public.
Donald Spina, 148 Daniel Road. I'm gonna butter, but here to you for that.
Can you,
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I can. Alright.
That's okay.
That's just, you don't utilize the microphone.
Taxpayer money, you might as well use it.
Look at that.
So when the project started and, we're.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you identify yourself again? please?
Donald Spina, 149 Daniel Road.
Thank you.
When the project first started, the advisor, they were all brought down there. And the plan was given to us. The biggest thing was mentioned, we wanna put some walkways in here. We have a real nice area in the backyard here with the brook and stuff. And we're gonna put gazebos in here. It was presented with us like it's gonna be a place to relax and unwind, probably before the meal or after the meal. When that was approved, I guess at that point, the gazebo were changed dimension wise, okay? They were changed with the structure, style and everything. We were never told what was the plan for these buildings in the future. Because when they went for gazebos with building, with ramps and electricity, we put 3 new restaurants back there for people to get involved in because it brought up years ago after I've been in there, my location since 1973. The tumbling was there, the stumbling was there, and Club 57 came in there. And they got into outdoor activities and music and noise. And back then, the selectmen at that point said, outside activities will never take place without special meetings and special permits. And Craig's house was purchased, it was purchased with a foot plan to be a restaurant in that area, and that was where it's gonna stop, okay? Now, are we looking at, we're looking at zoning changes to take place? Are we looking at changing the whole atmosphere of the backyard to where the abutters all around have no say anymore because the zone change allows this to happen, that to happen? We're taking and changing the footprint of the buildings already because they've already been built. So I guess what we've never been told is, what is the plan for these buildings to be put up with? And what is their purpose in the back there? Are they like the gazebos for rest and relaxation before and after dinner? If you have 4 or 5 buddies that want to chat,
Right.
look at the area, are they to make more people there, serve more people, become a restaurant and an outdoor activity, which we're not.
So, Mr. Sina, I can't give you the answer to that. You have to talk to the owner of the restaurant. We don't, that's not within our purview to decide.
That back,
Yeah.
the planning board meeting, it's been a planning board stage now,
Right.
so.
So they're the ones to really
This is where
talk to.
the neighbors don't wanna be here for that, to be honest with you, because we were told one thing to start with, it's gone so many different directions from them.
Right.
We're just kind of here to monitor what's going on all the time. We prefer-
I believe we didn't know either, so.
And we'd like to
I'm
know,
right,
what is the ultimate goal
right.
for the buildings that are out
And
there
that's what we're asking them to bring in. Before they get a certificate of compliance, they need to bring in what we need to see, which would be the final project, the final product. Okay? So they haven't gotten their certificate of compliance and they won't until we see that, the same thing you're asking for. All right, so we got a
That's a
request.
question, Mr. Salvini.
Oh, sure.
So going back to these folks' point about gazebo compared to building, these are buildings. when we all hear, I think gazebo, we're thinking like a screen enclosed, air flows through building. So with that in mind, when you put a building in a flood and the water comes up 6 inches, it's to the bottom. But what if it comes up 1.5 feet? The water's gonna go through a gazebo, now the building's in the way. That's a different thing too. You know.
That wasn't, Andy, that wasn't in the order of conditions, that
Right.
wasn't addressed at the time.
But
It was
that's-
just the floodplain, that's the only jurisdiction we have. I agree with you,
How does that?
I didn't think
affect
the
floodplain?
gazebos are gonna be buildings like that either, but
What if it goes higher than?
they're,
Well, again, getting back to the jurisdictional floodplain and then what is above, if it's a gazebo or a birdhouse. It's above jurisdiction.
So it's above the flood, the building's
above
above the flood.
What is above the floodplain is really technically not jurisdictional in the floodplain. It's still jurisdictional within your riverfront and your buffer zones and everything else, but it's not. It's up and out of your floodplain.
Right.
jurisdiction. So
Understood.
it could be a gazebo, a birdhouse,
Or a cement block.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So can I say something?
Sure.
Sorry. Why we build those buildings, which we call buildings, gazebos, we Googled like all season gazebos basically, and we also understand water rise and winds and wild animals and all that stuff. Originally, we thought it has to be somehow enclosed. If it's gonna be like I don't know, some kind of plywood for winter time or something. And when we kicked ideas around, we Googled a lot, we looked what is on the market. And when you Google whole season gazebos, they look exactly like what we built. So it not specify on the plan whole season gazebos, but this is not
Yeah.
a building, this is.
Well, it's a building, it's a definition of a building,
No,
4
any
walls, a
building is a
roof, and
building.
floor, it's a
Yeah.
building. So that's,
Any building is a building, but. at the
yes,
same
but
time-
this is an enclosed building, enclosed structure is what we would call a building, not a gazebo. So. By definition,
Maybe
Okay.
misunderstanding, but with all windows are open.
yeah, but it's bigger, also bigger than what you planned too, I mean, the whole structure is different than everybody else envisioned beside you.
We did investigate, look why they become bigger.
Yeah.
And only explanation we found, originally we talked about 2, and later we jumped possibility of having 3 and size would be different. And we never took into consideration size will be different.
Yeah, and when that happens, when anything changes,
Yeah.
you need to come back and see people. Everybody, not just us, but
we did tell you, you should have better communication with the planning board, and you guys said you were all set with that, so
Well,
we. Would have been better to get that out up front.
okay, well, one last comment from the crowd.
2 things. I've seen on multiple occasions that we've had burn barrels out back, which would affect your, pulling items out of the wetlands. There's a gate where the access pump station is, that has been pulled back 10, 12 feet. The brush has been pulled back into there. To go back on the original statement, I have the original write-up from the Salvini, engineering house, or as you represent, and it said it would have open railings for free flow of water, was the terminology. So the original request and design was a building that we all know as a gazebo with open railings and free flow of water.
Right,
So this is completely changed here.
right, that's my understanding as well, and that's why I kind of tried to address that.
Thank you.
But if there are things being brought back into the wetland area, that would also be a different kind of violation.
Yeah, it's being raked out, pulled out and burned and,
Yeah.
going.
So that might need to be investigated as well,
Yeah.
but that's totally different than what we're having tonight. Thank you for your comments. So, we have a request for
Continuation,
continuation. Do I have a motion on the acceptance of the requests?
I make a motion to grant a continuation.
New plans and new everything.
Well, we're gonna need to see the-
Whatever's
Yeah.
proposed.
The as-built and the proposed
Yeah.
new
Detail.
calculations for the,
Right.
handicap.
One of
accessible
each,
walkways.
yeah.
So I have a motion from Dennis,
Second.
and a second from Norm.
Okay.
We'll do roll call, Norm,
Aye.
Dennis,
I,
Jerry.
Aye.
Chris, aye.
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 Okay,
Did you
the ayes
say
have it.
The 6th or the 20th?
Oh, Did you put a date? Or did you get a paper?
The 16th
No,
of this
that's why
month.
I was like,
Oh,
Gene has it,
Jean
But-
went home.
but we didn't put a date on because we weren't sure.
which
when
date would you like? You can,
What were they again?
16th of this month, 6th of November and 20th of November.
I'm gonna push it out to the 20th because we've got a lot of stuff to try to do.
Sounds good.
okay,
Is that good?
you're good.
All right.
We will see you then, sir.
You bet.
Sirs. Wait, nothing.
What's the 20th? November 20th.
November 20th.
I don't know where she took the form, so I did make a billable form on the website
Okay.
under the RDA NOI, or actually, I think you should put it on the website.
So, Chris, the next item on the agenda,
Yes.
No.
we had Vec in here last time showing us, he's looking for certificate of compliance on Depot. What's it called?
That says 31 Sam West.
Oh, we got Sam Watson.
Oh, Sam West, let's continue. Oh, we gotta vote on that?
Oh, I see, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so request for certificate on Depot Square.
Yep, next.
Oh, did you?
We'll wait for Sabrina.
Oh, so what date was it?
20th, November 20th.
November 20th?
Correct.
You stay on your hand.
Yeah.
Were you here?
Of course.
You know, Gene, you don't have to explain.
So we had a request for a continuation on Sam West Road, Sabrina.
This was continued till today. So is there
Yeah.
another continuance?
So Ryan was supposed to stay for that,
Okay, so,
as far as I know, unless he sent me another email last minute. The only continuation that I saw was 81 Point Grove. Oh, but I did talk to Mark Stinson with, Mass DEP, and he said that it actually looks like the violation is more extensive than what we think. And I sent you, Norm, and Chris, I forwarded the
the
email,
picture.
the pictures, the
Yeah.
LiDAR, and, so you can have a look at that.
But
Okay.
there's nobody here.
Well, we're not gonna do
Nobody here
anything on
for
that
that.
tonight. It'll
So-
be pushed till whenever.
Scratch that.
Request for certificate of compliance and Depot Square condominium.
I was gonna tell you, yeah, Beck was in here last time looking for requests for certificate of compliance and the catch basins, that the retention, detention basins,
Mhm.
some of them were supposed to be bio retention basins, and we asked him to do that before he gets a certificate of compliance.
That happened.
We asked him that.
And I think we have to formally tell him that that's what we need to see before he gets any certificate of compliance.
Okay. Well, that's reasonable. I agree with you there for sure.
They want us to give him the certificate first and then do the planting
No,
later.
no,
I did-
It never happened.
we all know how that works.
They were-
Oh,
And
thanks.
also, I know that they had, spoke about the additional plantings, there's like 300 additional plantings on the as-built. And I spoke with Randy Brown about that, and he said the majority of the plantings were flowers.
Yeah, that's outside of our jurisdiction.
I
The
know.
only thing that's in our jurisdiction is those
Right.
basins, and
So,
people keep promising bioretention basins, and I'd like to actually see it happen.
right. Well,
I would like
we
to
have-
see it happen too.
We have the bioretentions at the green,
Yeah.
when it's not supposed to be bioretention,
Did you see that those aren't functioning properly?
I-
because
yeah,
they have
because,
turned into,
yes,
they're not supposed to.
they were supposed to be just retention basin.
So the idea is you plant a jungle in the basin and it absorbs a lot more water than the basin would by itself.
Yeah, if you
That's
plant it
generally
right,
the-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right,
And also,
Right.
the plants can function as a filter, and
right.
so,
Almost makes more sense minus the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be careful with how much of what you throw in there too.
The correct balance of plants.
Choke
Right.
each other out.
Right.
And then all
Okay, so we also have a reminder, the Sokanowski Stargazer event, October 20th, cloud date 21st and 22nd of October. The last one I heard was a successful event, so
last one
forward
like
to that.
15 years ago.
15 years ago. We've had some in the past that, it was quite a while ago, and people really were enjoying those.
Yes,
So
so
hopefully this will get things back,
back in the swing of things.
yeah, say more of a regular occurrence.
So we're supposed to, the walkway between the main parking area and the first hayfield, the tractor went through there and there's some deep ruts, about foot, 2 feet
Mhm.
ruts back there. I asked Kevin to go and, smooth it out. He said he was gonna try to do it this past weekend. I don't think he did. We did get a lot of rain, understandable, and he had a wedding to go to as well.
Oh,
It's cutting pretty close. We have, what, 3 weeks before this happens, so I hope that he gets out there within the next week, so then, we can get that donation of chips and spread that out and have the place,
They're in the way, they gotta go.
right, yeah.
They got somewhere.
Dry out pretty soon.
Yeah, it rained too much.
Great.
Rain a lot. If not, we're gonna have to go we're gonna have to go by the pond. That way.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and we need basically a car to travel the telescopes up, something with good suspension, so they don't bounce around.
When it's dry enough, you can just drive up there, I mean.
I know, but it's been so wet, and that Kevin said the reason why they used the other road or access way is because the one by the pond was so wet.
Yeah,
So hopefully, one of them's gonna be dry enough to get the telescopes up to the.
we've had enough
15.
rain, haven't we?
yeah,
Yes, we have,
well, it's supposed to be a dry week, so keep your fingers crossed.
yeah.
Okay, and update on the landowner that wants to donate 13 Berkshire Ave to Conservation Commission.
Yeah, so I did write that this will be continued to the
Yeah.
October 16th meeting because I wasn't sure if, I didn't know that we were gonna be scheduled for tonight's meeting at the select board meeting. So I don't know if we should wait until the next meeting to talk about what we had basically,
Was there anything discussed at your meeting?
there was, yeah,
There.
but I wasn't sure because I put October 16th that we need to wait for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know anything about it, so
Oh, I'll tell you.
that's why I'm
So-
asking.
Sorry. So we had a property owner, call up the Conservation Commission office and he said that he wants to donate some property to the Conservation Commission. It is the property that is essentially Great Brook across from the South Ramp.
Okay,
So right there, and it also includes, about
your turtle crossing.
the turtle crossing where all the turtles get smashed.
Mhm.
Parking,
What is that?
more parking for the bike trail, that was one idea.
It was, yes, one idea was parking, there's another idea of boardwalk, I'm more privy to the boardwalk, obviously, because it's mostly all wetlands back there, and
It's all wet,
Dennis had said to keep it pristine,
So how do we get the process started?
Well,
so.
they're excited about the project, but they'd like us to package what we think the cost would be to the town to do we need a survey? What would the cost of the survey be if we have to? If we want a boardwalk, is it feasible? And then what's the estimate of the cost of the boardwalk? We don't think there's parking, but if there is a possibility of doing parking, what would the cost be for that? They'd like us to package that.
So a little feasibility study.
Yeah,
We're not gonna know how much lawyer fees are because that's the town lawyer.
yeah,
That depends how many hours it's spent on it.
yeah.
To the water, so.
But we can get them some
Different
estimates of,
Guesstimates.
you know, we know how much the boardwalk, I'm sure it costs out here.
Great.
Yep. In the back of the building.
And then the one, set one off the side of
Line
Road. So there's one that goes, the
So we've
new
given
scenic trail,
some estimates,
there's one that goes over, it's a really.
but they're excited about the project.
So
Yeah,
from
sounds
my
Did they say anything
takeaway,
out of order?
I think, a question was asked as of, do we want to involve the CPA funds? Because the price of a boardwalk, I mean, I know you say that one was free, but I think that was lucky. That one was free.
There's the kind on the New England Scenic Trail that's, you know, really sturdy and wide. And then there's small ones that are just wood
Right.
with a railing.
Do
Right.
you want to put an application into the CPC?
So this is the thing that we need to sort of talk about is because this is a piece of property that is going to be donated, not necessarily purchased by the town.
Right.
And the question was, CPC funds be used for property that's not purchased with CPC money, because with purchase with CPC funds, you have the CR as well, a conservation restriction, and we do have about $13,000 in the.
Well, for
Woody.
recreation, you can't.
What's
That was
what's
Any-
Wally Park donated?
Okay, so Carl
Sure,
had
it's a-
mentioned that there was a change and I wasn't aware of that, so,
Mhm.
so yes, for recreation.
But the
so
other thing we need to
boardwalk
keep
would
in
be-
mind too is that area might be involved in maybe a future dredging project, so we need to be wary of what those plans might be. Because I know that,
There is talk.
Lake Management has been
Yeah.
talking about a dredging project,
Right.
and that might be,
Chris, wasn't Wally Park donated?
We use CPC funds for
right,
that.
that's what I'm saying, it can be.
But that's park and rec, that's,
Oh, recreation,
so as long as.
open
what-
space and recreation.
Open
Open
space
space and recreation,
Yeah.
but there
We'll put
are,
this something together with the package. and-
Yeah, but that, as the select board mentioned, we could buy it for $1 and
Yeah.
it would take us out of that problem.
Well, that's true as
If,
well.
if it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem though. I just think we need to look further down the road as far as like plans for dredging. Does that fall under part of that plan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About that whole area will be dredged.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that might be
Yeah.
needed for work area or whatnot. And if we put a boardwalk, that might. You might wanna wait another.
Well, it'll take us a while. to
Right.
Pull this all
Right.
together.
Yeah, I understand that, but you never know. Sometimes things happen like
So
that.
is the donation a done deal?
no, it's not a done deal. I
never a
need
done
to-
deal
I
until
need to
it's in
call
writing.
him up and let him know what's going on. I don't really know what to say right now. We're still in deliberation, like, yes, we would like it, but we need to figure out how we're going to.
Yeah. Does he have conditions or just?
No, he's
giving it
just
to
like,
him?
I just wanna, I need to get rid of it. He's like, my,
Donate it for no
his
more.
parents owned it, and he's like, I don't know why they didn't get rid of it in the first place. I guess we,
There's nothing they can do.
what's that?
They're paying taxes on it.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
can't use it.
Right,
Why?
and I
It's a
doesn't
wetland.
live from around, he's in New Hampshire, I think, so.
Okay.
Um,
Well, all right, we'll continue this conversation on our next meeting.
okay,
When we
good.
know more.
I mean, I don't know if the select board wanna.
No, I
join
already
in.
asked them, they were quiet.
Oh,
Sabrina and Chris, I would like to see Noble Steed on the agenda for the next meeting.
For
A
enforcement.
lot of issues happening out there. We can't really discuss what's on the agenda tonight, but
Right.
we really need to.
Do what?
Noble Speed.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the revised or the new, conditions on that property, is that correct? On the
it's
new
not new
farm?
conditions, it's the conservation restriction for the open space that needs to be.
Huh.
Now it needs to be redone because there's a new format and it
Yeah.
needs to be signed by us, by select board and by the state.
It's
Because,
temporary still evidently.
But yeah, if we could put that on for the next meeting. 'Cause
yes,
I'm
I
looking
would-
for a restoration plan, I don't know
Yeah,
if
we
he's
need to let them know.
submitted
what
that
they
yet,
need to
but.
see.
He's already, the damage is done out there, there's no fix, there's
No,
no,
this one's fine.
nothing they can stop. it.
Definitely
It
right
needs to
now, it
be-
seems like it's a combination, not just Jesse, but
Needs to be restored
other areas.
eventually.
Okay.
The damage is
One
done.
more item, Chris.
Oh, go ahead, Norm.
We want to talk the, MACC conference in October.
Yes,
I forgot what the date is.
it's October 28th is the MACC
Right.
conference. I can't make it. I got accepted for a grant. And I will be away for the weekend for
Wonderful.
Keystone.
Are they gonna do
UMass
ones in
Keystone.
Worcester ever again?
Restorations. Yeah, that's the one in the
Worcester's.
We go to the spring.
winter, yeah.
Yeah.
That way you don't, you generally go to the fall one.
Right.
Anybody's
Okay.
welcome to.
I had fun last year.
Yeah, I've been to maybe 2 fall ones. One was up in Lee. It was a nice area. It was, okay. But, anybody that wants to go? Let them know about the,
I'm too busy right now.
yeah.
The travel and conference is first come, first served, so,
Spring is me.
so, yeah.
Looking for a motion?
We still need to fix the kiosk, Bruce. That's my little itchy point. in the
The
whole
gorge.
world. We gotta get those things done at
We
some
need-
point.
Do you have the measurement, like,
We need a phone number of a metal guy, I guess.
I mean, it
You
doesn't
mean
have to
metal
be
roofing?
done.
Yes.
I may have some extra. So you can come over and check it out if you want.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Norm?
Aye.
Everybody's.
Can you just say?
Nope, sorry.
did the motion and who did the second on the
Norm did the
recording?
first, Dennis did the second.
Okay.
Or it was the other way around.
9:01.
We are adjourned at 9:01. Happy
9:01.
meeting for all. Thank
Okay.
you.